All right, starting the live stream. Beginning now.
There
All
we go.
right. Okay, I believe we are live. Welcome. I'm just going to check to make sure we are good. Just going to check in here. Blessings on this beautiful day. Blessings, blessings, blessings. Okay. All right.
We're there.
All right, we're here. Hi, everyone. Welcome. We're really excited and we have some potent medicine to share today.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot opening up for the unions right now, and there's some big shifts happening collectively within the Divine Union Collective. And so we just wanted to drop in today. God encouraged us to share and to really just bring this energy of divine union forward into the field through our field and from this beautiful divine union paradise grid that we're on, to really bring this forward to support you and to attune you to the medicine of Christ Sophia. So yeah, there's a lot arriving and there's
Mm-hmm.
been a lot releasing too. Yeah. Yeah, so I know this is a pop-up live, so if you're here, we'd love to know who's here. Say hello. And if you're here on the replay, let us know and feel free to share this if it resonates to reach more unions. There's a lot of throttling going on social media regarding divine unions and just the nature of the word union even being in the algorithm. But we're not going to not say it also. So it's this whole thing that God's been showing us, like with the AI, and there's been a lot of AI suppression coming in. And so we just want to talk a little bit today about warfare on unions, what that looks like, and how to begin to transcend it, navigate it. And also, we're going to be sharing more about the Divine Union Healing Immersion that we're going to be holding from April 7th through 16th, that God is inviting us to bring forward, that we've been birthing over the last several days and have endured actually some really intense warfare to bring it forward. So
Mm-hmm.
we want to talk about that today, because when you are birthing something in service to God that your union is creating through that sovereign creational template that your union holds to birth through your love, there can absolutely be warfare and interference that comes in. So we wanted to just share a little bit about that today, so you could kind of have an understanding of it, a deeper wave of medicine to flow in, and also to know how to navigate it. So that's what today is going to be about. And so, yeah, just welcome and thank you for being here. And we trust that this medicine will serve you. And we just pray for miracles, and we pray for the reunification of all unions and of Christ Sophia to be restored on this planet in the name of Jesus, and to really allow the Grail Kings and Queens to rise, and for the unions to be magnetized together through the Emerald Aqua Diamond Wave, and really allowing that medicine to flow in today. So yeah. Yeah. Oh, hey, sister. Welcome. So happy you're here. So yeah, we're really excited about our Divine Union Healing Immersion. It's going to be a respite for you from all of the
Mm-hmm.
warfare that has been on your union, whether you have been in physical union yet or not, but from the wounds of separation, all of that. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. So yeah, should we get into some of the warfare
Let's do it.
energy of how to overcome it and to move through it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I can get us started here and connecting in with warfare. I mean, it's really there's two sides to each. You think of traditional warfare, how there's a battlefield, and then there's all of the things that go on behind the scenes, and all of the preparation and all of the repair after all of the wounding. And it's a massive undertaking, a massive process. And that's just something that most of the time you're thinking about, sacred union, you aren't really thinking about the warfare side of things. You're thinking about all of the happy times and the great things that happen and what you want in that respect. And pulling the curtain back, though, there are a lot of things that can oppose you coming into union. And just traditionally, people getting into relationships, it's going to be much different than that. So when these things come up for us to witness and to be a part of, it's really just about connecting into some of the tools that you can use as well. But having spaces to be able to go to that are safe enough for you to actually go deep and connect with God on that deeper level and have a genuine repair, because some of these things are so big that there's just not enough space that you can hold on your own with each other. And over time, you can develop that. But as we've been guided into this space, what we're really being called to do is provide this container so that unions can start to have these massive shifts without having to hold it themselves. And that's what we've really been guided to do here, and what we're being shifted towards. So with that, uh, yeah, just it feels like there's an opportunity here for whether or not you're currently in union, for everyone to come into this space and be witnessed and just really take a break if you've been going hard at life, more or less. But if you've been going hard into your missions and you've been connecting, and there may be something that is coming up over and over again, even within your union or in adversity, trying to get into union as well. All of these things can be little obstacles, and there are a lot of different indicators that you're being targeted as well. But that's mostly what we're doing here is we're connecting in with what are these things that potentially are getting in the way, that separate you from your union, that are going to come in between you. And here's what you can do with that, and here's how you can create these containers. Just being able to really connect into the wisdom that connecting to God can give you. So yeah, I feel like that's what I have starting off here. How about you? What are you?
Shikia nakia sakamakuya nyakia tia oria tia sukushkia maki ya nokuya sakia no tia tara sakia shia makuya naki. I can just feel like some interference coming in. So yankuya nigas korakia sakaradia taradia saradia to shukuya masukuya saki. So it's about having the awareness to be able to recognize interference and when people are on assignment to interfere within your union, and to be able to have the discernment and the God ordained wisdom that God gives you to be able to recognize this is something that's coming in to interfere in my union, and this is something that I need to take care of. So I know, as supporting a lot of women and also just reading some of the comments from our last transmission, there's like confusion of, I don't know if this is my union or not, right? I don't know if this is my union or not. And what I want to express about that is no one can tell you. I've worked with a lot of women, a lot of things. Is this my union? That is a conversation between you and God, because I have noticed that after being in union for so long, there will be projections put on your union that will try to come in. And one of the biggest spiritual warfare tactics is, that's not your union. You have to leave. That he's not your real union, even if he is. Now, there's a nuance to this, because sometimes if you are in a toxic karmic relationship and there's no respect and there's no love and there's abuse happening, that's a very different experience of receiving the download. This isn't your union. You have to leave. This is not who you're meant to be with. And it's a very deep soul knowing and understanding. And if that's something that you're unsure of, it's really important to really get into deep communion with God and ask God to reveal the truth to you. And that can be painful, because if you have been in a relationship that you thought potentially was your union, and then it actually ended up not being your union because some things happen, I mean, this is all part of the process. And what God has really taught us and shown us is that there will be relationships that come in before your union to prepare you for the union itself, and to unlock and to bring you into different spaces. So if you are in a situation where you feel like there's things coming at you that are trying to convince you it's not your union, really don't just accept that that's what it is. Like, go deeper with God and really ask the questions of asking God's source to reveal to you the truth. Because a huge tactic of the enemy is to interfere in the union to separate you. And they will use any kind of wounding that's open that you don't even know is existing there to try to get in and manipulate your mind and to overtake your consciousness to make decisions from a wounded place rather than from a place of power. So whenever you're feeling like there's a heaviness, a weight, I'm going to talk more about this in a minute here of what a union attack feels like. Right. It's a spiritual attack on the union. Sometimes this will come in through the physical, where there will be people sent on assignment into your reality to project and to place things on your union or to try to insert themselves because they are on assignment. They don't even know it. They're just even unconscious to it. And they're just, there's an energy that's working through them that's set on assignment to specifically create interference within your union. That can absolutely happen. And so there's many different ways, and we're going to talk more about this in our divine union healing immersion for a more appropriate space of how to navigate that when that happens and how to move through that bondage that's ready to be released and to really seal up your union so nothing else can come in that is not actually aligned outside of the organic initiations of union. And so that's the nuance there of, am I able to distinguish the difference? And if you're not sure, this is where you invite the presence of God in and ask God, show me the difference between an organic initiation that my partner and I are just working through these bloodline things, these wounds, these traumas that we're working through together, or is this actually something that's inorganic, that's not actually for our highest good? And it's really about going into that prayer and understanding that God has the solution to what's occurring. And in order for a true union to come together, the presence of God has to be there, right? It has to be the centerpiece of the union so that you can navigate this. Because when you are coming into a true union of Christ Sophia, there will be opposition, there will be warfare, there will be things to delay the union coming together. And that's why when you start to clear the bondage off your divine union avatar, things will start to shift. When you start to make the moves to come into union and prepare for that, it allows God to work more deeply in your field to bring the union together rather than to be just kind of off doing your own thing. But when you're intentionally focused and connecting to the medicine that your union holds and the true love that your union holds, that you are in deep devotion and prayer to receive that, God can work through the union and allow it to merge in a more deep way that is really supportive. And that's what we're going to be sharing in our divine union immersion, because this is important to understand, because there's a lot of misinformation out there that doesn't actually connect to the true resonance of Christ Sophia and what that field actually consists of.
Wow. That
Ooh, thank you, God. Praise the Lord. That was just God flowing
that
through me.
was
Amen.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I need to also tune into the levels that you're getting into here. So I just want to bring through a little bit on the masculine in here of Koskoyara Hamathuya Neshionoya Wahia Wastionoya Shiama Uyara Castiara Yumaya Yasukuma Inayatoyara Shiata Uyara Kuma Nono Yara Sea Mushikia Yanuya Nayara Soya Astoya. Yeah, because that was really, really powerful. What you just
Thanks,
brought
my
in.
love.
My goodness.
It's
Yeah,
just like a potent transmission that God really wants to be in the field right now. And
yeah,
that's why we're showing up, is because God wants our presence, and God has codes to share with the unions, and we're just the representatives and serving God in this way to bring it through and to serve as that,
yeah.
as that, in service to God, fully devotion. And there's just something else coming in. I want to hear your take
Bring
on
it
this
through. No, like
um as
I want you
well.
to bring through everything that's coming through. I can feel it.
But there's something that God was showing me the other night about union and really allowing the Grail King and Grail Queen consciousness to arrive in the field. And there's a deep devotional template that's held within your union template. So your divine union avatar, right, is the merge, right? This is before the split. So I don't want to go too deep here, but when the split happened, right? We were merged as one, right? And then the split happened and we split into the masculine and the feminine. And there's this separation wounding of the split and the trauma and the deep grief. And this is something that I started to experience when we came together, and I didn't understand it at the time. But there's a deep grief there and heartache of we were one being at once. And so it was just this deep understanding, and it's a very deep experience to feel that oneness of being in the Christ Sophia merge and not feeling the separation and feeling the unity of that. And then we come here and there's the split. And so there's a devotional space that you can go into that will allow the healing of that split. And this is really potent because even though we've been together in the physical for almost 7 years, there are still aspects of us that are not unified. And we're still actively working through that because of what we have endured and what our union specifically is here to heal collectively, in service to God and to all of the unions. And so going into a deep space of devotion and holding that field, that devotional atmosphere of like devoting yourself to God and allowing God to work through your field, it's like such a powerful process of giving yourself to God. And also, whatever bondage is on your union, whatever warfare is on your union, whatever you have been enduring, the pain of separation, the crazy attacks of like things coming in, of like things overtaking you, or you're of like not treating each other well because there's a wounded part that gets activated and lashes out. And we've been there. I mean, this is just the reality of it, of like not being in our best and having this conflict, having these situations come up between fragmented aspects of us that we're working through healing. And that can be really intense. And so this is about bringing all of that in that you're feeling surrounding your union, all the emotions, all of the timelines, the remembrance, the memories, the grief, the joy, like the ecstasy of being in union, and bringing all of that to the throne of God's source and asking God for divine intervention and to start working in your union in a really powerful way. And that's what we're going to be teaching inside the immersion, of really allowing this in, because there's a deep surrender that happens. And when you can lead that in your union, it really will shift things for you and your beloved, whether or not you're in the physical or not. When you are going into that devotional space to bring that forward, God starts to do something in your union that you couldn't experience before because you didn't ask for it and you weren't in the devotional surrendered space of this deeper level of devotion. And it's a very intimate thing that happens when you go into this deeper intimacy with God, to allow God to really resurrect your union and resurrect the healing and the energy that your union holds, and to bring it forward for you to remember so you can connect to that true love frequency that your union holds. And that's available to you now, and you can start tuning into that now. You don't have to have a set thing to do it in, but we're just going to be attuning you to it inside of our healing immersion. So that way you can really anchor it in and start to embody it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love how much is flowing through you right now. That's
I'm like spilling
it's
water on myself.
it's
Abundance, overflow. That's what's
it's
coming in.
it's so good.
Anyway, thank you for receiving. These are some really deep
Goodness.
transmissions. So, if this is the first time kind of hearing these things, like just know that the codes are settling, they're anchoring, they're activating your DNA.
I
It's
know. I feel like you're bringing in the fire, and I'm coming over here with the water of just like "Uske aranaso ya kulma hunayasha
Mhm,
ya kia wakia mato ya naso asuku ya
mhm,
he shuya na toya tereskio mata ya na oya na sokoya." So, I mean, that will be it. You guys will complement each other, and there are different strengths, and there are different things that you bring to the union, and being able to really come deeper into union with God, you get to see what those are even more. And that's just it. my gifts in coming in and being able to hold the space for some of these intense processes and being able to step into my leadership and be able to hold and help her through some of these major processes that are coming up where she really does just need help, and being able to show up in the ways that I need to as the masculine that may or may not be able to be communicated, and figuring out what those things are. I mean, it takes a lot of separation in a sense of from who we think we actually are. And that's what I've noticed mostly is, through all of these trials and through all of the times that these energies are coming through, it's easy to start to discern what type of energy it is. Is this an entity? Is this some type of attack? Is this something that is from our lineages? Like, where is this coming from? Because it's almost like we're being played out. The energy is playing out some sort of role within our bodies, within our physical vessels, that energetically is creating this environment. And when we witness that, we're able to take a step back. It depends on who's there, but who's able to understand that this is happening. Because if we're both in it, it can be challenging. But being able to recognize these are parts, these with God. Let's do this. But it is a skill, it's an art. It depends on what you're in, and how ready you are to be able to face these things, because that's the challenge. That's the warfare side of things. But on the other side of that, the other side of that coin is being able to smooth that out as it develops, as it's starting to try to ramp up, because it will want you to feed these. And being able to acknowledge, let's not feed these, is the simplest way you can disengage, connect with God, and be on your way to strengthening your union, so that you don't have to be in those lower timelines for any longer than is necessary. And I'd say that's probably, I mean, that's what we're doing within this container, along with all the codes and everything else that will come through in the activations. But in terms of what you will be learning about, like, that whole process is life changing. It takes you from being in a space of having to go through these trials over and over again. Some of these things, they just keep cycling, and it's like, how do we get out of this? I've tried all of the superficial type of things, the communication, and we've tried regulating, co-regulating and doing these things together, and it just seems like this is so big. I don't really know what to do with this. Or even it pushes people apart. It pushes them physically apart. And that is incredibly painful too, just that representation of the separation. So being able to recognize and acknowledge, like, this work that is coming up for us all to do together, this container, the collective energies that are going to be entering in, it's going to be really customized to what these situations are that everyone is going through, and we're going to be able to hold space for that to be healed for the collective together. And that's the bigger mission here, is connecting into the power of union and being able to restore that power for all unions, not just our personal unions. So this is such a greater service even to the collective than it is to ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing all of that.
Yeah.
And I think there's something that God has really been showing me, is that it has been brutal. Obviously, we know this. And I want to give an example of the warfare that we had to overcome yesterday, because we had a huge attack on our union yesterday, huge interference to try to get out the immersion, because the landing page for the immersion that gives all the details, and we'll put that link in here, and we already shared it, but um it's a codex. So when I write something, like, it brings the whole transmission, the codex in of the container of the immersion of the experience. And when you put that out into the field, it changes the fabric. And so when you start to open that up and unlock and invite people into the healing frequency, all of the entities and demons and all these things start to scatter, because they're like, oh shit, we're getting evicted, basically. And so there was a huge warfare assignment on us over the last couple of days to shut this down, but it's not going to be shut down, because it's God ordained. And It's time for it to happen. And so what is important to understand is that when your union, well, let me say a couple things first. So whenever I hold a medicine container, this is basically Sanctuary of Sophia, which is my Sophianic temple, is opening the gates up to divine union healing work. So I've been supporting women exclusively over the last several years as we've been put on pause. And now the sanctuary is opening the gates to the temple for divine unions to come in through this divine union healing immersion. So it's open to men and women who are in union or desire to be in union and to be held by the miracle healing energy of Christ Sophia. And this specific container is designed for unions to come in and to receive respite from the battle, to receive healing, and for us to hold you for 10 days in your divine union healing experience. So for 10 days, you're going to be immersed in the healing frequencies of Sanctuary of Sophia that are connected to our divine union and this divine union paradise grid that we have been cultivating here, that is going to allow your union to soften. And it's really important. We're going to teach about this, but it's so important for you to have your own relationship to the masculine principle and the feminine principle in order for you to go deeper with your partner. So in order for Elijah to hold me and support me more and for us to go into deeper union, I really had to go deep with the Holy Father, with Christ, and really go through a beautiful healing process with the Father to be able to then allow us to go deeper. And we're going to share more about how to do that inside the immersion. Um, but when it comes to warfare, it can start as a slow boil, right? You know how like they boil frogs slowly and the frog doesn't know it's in boiling water and then it's in boiling water. It's kind of like that. It can come in and sometimes it can be like very blatant and obvious. There's different tactics that they use, but recently over the last couple of days, like we could feel when you've been through warfare enough, like you can feel when the enemy is like strategizing against you. You know what I mean? Like you can feel the strategy happening in the field, and like
You just see it,
you
the
can
little parts and pieces that are coming together.
see it, you can feel it.
It's like a tornado or a storm on the horizon. Like
Yeah.
you can tell something's about to happen. This feels like an atmospheric shift. And oh yeah, okay, here it goes.
Yeah. And so basically I want to share this process to give you like an example of how to move through a warfare situation at the base level, not at the deepest level, because this isn't the appropriate space for that. But we were moving through um, you know, finishing up the transmission, the codex, to share the immersion, to start to welcome people into it, to put it out in the field. And like Elijah said, I mean, this is a collective experience. So for everyone who comes into the immersion, you're going to have your own personal individual experience. And also everything that we're doing in there is for the union collective. And so there's just so much blessing and favor on it because the group that comes together is divinely appointed to be in service to the greater union collective. And then there are so many blessings and gifts that come from that. And so this field of resonance that we're inviting you into in the immersion, it is going to transform your own union. How do I say this, God? It's like it's going to transform your own relationship to union. And also, we're going to be holding a deep healing ceremony that is going to release collective bondage because we're doing it together, but also like bondage specifically on your union. We're going to be going through, there's a detailed list that God's given, plus whatever comes up within the 7 days leading up to union. And whenever we clear bondage off of the union, it shakes things up. And the dark forces feeding off of your union and suppressing you, they lose their food source when all of this bondage is cleared. And so obviously for us to facilitate that, they don't want us facilitating this. Like,
yeah, they aren't happy.
They're not happy about it. They're like, like it's whatever. It doesn't matter. But the point is that we could feel the warfare wave start to come in, and it was building and building and building. We're like clearing, clearing, clearing. Well, we had all this interference. People had to come in our Airbnb yesterday. So we've created this really beautiful ceremonial space here on the land. And there had to be two people had to come in and fix things yesterday, which by the way, somebody else has to come back in because
There's
something else broke
there's
that
a
has to be
another
fixed.
one. Yeah.
So we have to, navigate that. Now, having people come into a sacred space is like, it's very intrusive, and it's an interference because whatever they have going on in their field, when they come into your space that you've cultivated and you've been doing all this deep work in, they're bringing that in, that frequency, those overlays, whatever is going on in there. And so of course we clear the space, but things are implanted into the field when that happens. And so that started to create this thing happening. And long story short, I got really triggered, and there was a really deep piece that happened for me that was connected to something really, a very, very, very ancient deep wound of the feminine that I've been carrying and have been working on for years. And it came to the surface basically because it can't be in my field any longer. Now, the thing about warfare is it's annoying and it's frustrating, and it's going to liberate you. And so if you can see it through the lens of victory, and you can see it through the lens of liberation, of like, okay, this is so intense, and I know that God's allowing this to happen because it's coming up for liberation, and it's bringing me closer to where I want to be, where God wants to bring me. How can I invite God into this process and allow it to happen in a way that is easeful, quick, and brings me into my power and eliminates this? And so it was a deep wave that came in, and we had to do things in a different way. And so some there are different kinds of warfare that will happen that require different skills and different energies and tools. And so there are different things that need to happen based on whatever the situation is. And so of course, the number one thing with warfare is to go into prayer and call in the presence of God, and to really allow God to start working through the situation and calling in for divine intervention, first things first. But then you have to show up and do your part. And navigating that can be difficult. And so it's about being able to find trust and trusting Elijah. I was like trusting Elijah to support me when I was going through this. And then, allowing him to be in his power and to receive from God how to support me. So it's important that both parties are taking responsibility for what's happening in their own energy field, and also knowing when God's guiding them to step in and to facilitate for the process that's happening when the other person isn't. Like me, I was in my trauma body yesterday while this was going on, and I was getting pummeled with this attack. And so I couldn't I was not in my power. I was in a deep traumatic space.
Yeah. And for me, it was about the reclamation of this way of being able to hold the space in just a different context. So it's a different approach, because normally I'm coming from a trauma-informed somatic approach where I'm coming in soft, I'm coming in light, I'm helping to connect to the body, things like that. And that's not what was needed at all. And so I have plenty of practice working with people with their businesses and developing their skills and taking step-by-step action, but that's not what was needed either. It was definitely more of an empowered type of support that was needed in that space, and direct, and being able to hold the line for our union, and being able to hold that with that power, and recognize that it didn't have to feed that energy as well. So that's something else that as you were talking about everything, Malaysia, what I was recognizing just through that process for us, and through what God's been guiding me to share today, that we don't have to fight. Like, actually, the best way to disengage that energy, to really stop feeding that energy, is to not fight with it. And that can be easier said than done, because there will usually be a story, or there will be some type of back and forth, some type of communication that is attempting to happen, and little either digs or little things here or there that will try to draw you into figuring it out with your minds, or having a deeper conversation about it, when all you really need to do is stop feeding that dynamic. because that's what's keeping it alive. And so, yeah, it's just it's a skill set that they varied based off of what it is that is in your union too. And that's just one thing that came up for us. And most likely that's going to be very useful in this container. That's how that normally goes for us. For us to come in, God will basically be like, here are the tools you need. Here's the situation you need to get to the other side of this. Now you have this tool because this couple coming in is going to need that. And they'll need you to have done this several times and understand it deeply. So that way, when they come to you, you can share, yes, this is how this is structured. This is how you can approach this, and just be able to share that. And it's, I mean, it's a beautiful dance as well, because when you get to the other side, it feels so good to reclaim that power.
Yeah, amen. And God is wanting you to get to that other side. And when you know, I'm going to get through this, we're going to get through this. Um,
Yeah.
even though, here's the thing too, demons of doubt will come in, the spirit of doubt will come in and be like, you're never gonna, this is never gonna get better, me, like all this crap that's not true, that you have to really not feed. And when they're like, this isn't the, like, you have to be able to identify that is not the voice of God. These are antichrist forces, anti-hero gamic forces, literally coming in to deter us from going deeper, because the role of the unions is so important here. We're resurrecting new earth family architecture, y'all. Like that's what the unions are doing, is
Mhm.
resurrecting this new earth family architecture of true love, and what that energy of love and family. You know how many families are torn apart right now, and I'm not just talking about through divorce, I'm talking about estrangement, siblings, like family members. Just there's so much toxicity in families that they're being torn apart. It's a war zone in families, and unions are really here to birth the new earth family architecture of soul family architecture as well,
Mhm.
and us finding our kin of who we're here to live and prosper with and raise our children with and be around, to be in a place of this sovereign space of joy and freedom, and really birthing a reality that God has destined for us to birth. And so when unions come together, powerful things happen. And that's why there's so much interference and attack to like to discourage you. And basically what's been happening, especially over the last 6 months, is to just dishearten the unions, to break our heart, to think it's never going to get easier, it's never going to get better, to believe those timelines, to believe the despair. That is not God. God is not doing that. Okay. So we need to recognize that the more that we feed that and participate in that, it's not going to be allowing us to really tap into what God has in store, because God does want the best for us, and God knows that he's placed really big mantles on the unions to carry. And there's a deep respect for those who have chosen to come into union and to be called to the path of union at this time, because of the curses we're breaking, the bondage we're breaking, and what we're doing for humanity as unions together. And that's what we're going to be holding space for inside our divine union healing immersion. So with that, I just want to invite you into the space. If you are feeling like you want to be held in a healing container by us, it's going to be a shamanic medicine container. So it's very multidimensional. It's also very grounded. There's going to be practical advice surrounding union. There's going to be very multidimensional transmissions coming in. And there's also going to be a very deep healing ceremony where we're going to do some deep field work. Now, the beautiful thing about this is that whether you're in physical union or not, these teachings, this healing ceremony, especially when you come in as the representative of your union, you are going into that devotion with God, saying, God, I want to clear this off of my union. I'm here. I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to go first, regardless of where your partner is in their journey that you might not have access to yet. But when you go in and you break that bondage off of your divine union avatar as that representative, you're going to open up spaciousness, and that's going to support your partner through the work you're doing, right? And so this is a huge reclamation for the unions, and it's a very deep healing space to recover and to restore. That's the medicine. It's medicine of liberation, it's medicine of restoration, of activation, of love, and really connecting and being held in the true love Christ Sophia union field where we can have fun and share
Mm.
and really come together as a community in a shared divine union resonance field. And the time is now. That's why God is having us birth this immersion. It's going to start April 7th. And we're going to guide you through a process over 7 days, leading up to a full day on Zoom, where we're going to be going into deeper divine union teachings. And then we're going to have this beautiful divine union healing ceremony, which is going to be a field work ceremony where you will receive this work on your field. And there's going to be some really, really potent medicine. And I just want to share it because it's really about like, what can you do for your union? And God wants to support your union. And that's why we're offering this, because we know how hard it is to like be in pain and feel separate and have, and also like casting out the spirit of resentment within your union, and also the resentment towards God of like, why is God allowing the unions to go through this? I mean, that's just a reality of it, right? Of like coming into pass and knowing this. And there's just such rich medicine. And we would just love to invite you to come in if you feel like you want to be held in this space. We're also offering some really special VIP upgrades at special rates for those who are called to come into the union immersion to work with us privately. And by the way, if you do feel the call to come here and to work with us in person, we're going to gift you the immersion as a bonus gift because it's deeply connected to this land.
Yeah, could feel that too, just from having this live, and connecting in with the energies that are going to be coming into the container. I can definitely feel that. We had that hit before we got here that there are going to be some very powerful unions that come into this space as well, that are already deeply on the path, and that we're going to connect. It's definitely a soul family level, like
Yes.
a contract on that level. So
Yeah, it's a reunion.
yeah, so we had that come through, and before we even knew we were going to have this container, it was just like, yeah, there's something with Soul Family there. I'm not quite sure what that is. So we're excited to see who's coming into this container, who's going to come in for the in-person. But that is going to be a great perk, that we're going to be doing in-person work, and you get the immersion as a part of that. So that's going to be really powerful after having that day with us, that you're going to also get to be in this 10-day container, and
Yeah.
have that Telegram support and be able to work into specific scenarios as well. But it's just, yeah, it's going to be really magical. I just feel like
Yeah.
it's really special,
Yeah.
and yeah, and I'm excited to see who's coming in. So just grateful and honored to have this opportunity to facilitate this container as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Thank you, my love. Yeah, we're really excited. We're just excited from what we've experienced and what God has planned. It's going to be really potent. And the beautiful thing is, if you've journeyed with me before, you know how this works. When you come into a journey space with me, and now with both of us, we receive medicine for you. So these teachings that we're going to be dropping every day leading up to the day, our ceremonial Christ Sophia experience, it's going to be based on who's coming into the container. That's how the medicine works in Sanctuary of Sophia. So when you come in, we're going to start receiving medicine for your union. So even though it's not like you're asking a personal question, which you'll have that available to you on our group support day on the 16th, but when you start to come in, when you say yes, like, okay, I'm accepting this invitation, we start to receive the medicine specifically for your union. And that is what we will be teaching on and also clearing and activating in our union ceremony. So it's amazing because like I can feel the unions coming in, like the representatives of the unions coming in, and it feels, oh, I have chills. It just feels like so special to be able to support your union because it's a beautiful thing. And I just want to talk a little bit about the immersion now logistically, just so you guys can understand how it works, in case you have any questions around it. But basically, And I just saw that Jennifer signed up for the union, which is so amazing. Oh my God. Congratulations, sister. Just celebrating you stepping into this immersion and honoring your union. May your union be blessed and favored. May God begin to work miracles in your union and support you and your beloved in the highest. Oh, thank you, God. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Um, so the way that it works is we're going to open up the Telegram space on April 7th. And so we're going to be sharing this, and the field is actually going to open up on the 7th. And so as soon as you step into the Telegram space, there's going to be different threads, right? You're going to be able to connect. We're going to have a beautiful community chat where we can all share and connect. There's also going to be a prayer garden, and we're going to pray for you in your union. So that's a part of our ministry here at Sanctuary of Sophia, where you get to plant your prayers in the prayer garden, and we will pray with you and for you, which is very powerful. It's one of the most powerful things we can do together as unions. Unions praying for other unions is so powerful. It's a medicine and unto itself. So that's going to be happening. And then we're also going to be dropping daily transmissions and teachings and audio drops every day for 7 days, starting on the 7th. This is going to be organic. It's going to flow based on who's coming in the container and what God delivers through us for the space. And that is going to prepare your field and your union for the full day of ceremonial healing on April 15th. So you'll be able to drop in and receive those transmissions throughout the week, planning your prayers, connecting. It's going to be super fun. We're going to be vibing together. We're going to get to know each other. It's going to be wonderful. This is open for men and women, for couples, and for men who want to be in union, for women who want to be in union. It's open for all. So on the 15th of April, we're going to spend the day together on Zoom, where we're going to do a 2-hour teaching and transmission around deeper union principles that are coming in for the field and for the collective space. And then we'll have a break, and then we're going to facilitate a deep divine union healing ceremony. This is a shamanic medicine ceremony that is going to be for your field and for your divine union avatar. And we're going to be facilitating field work, which is light body work that, of course, we know that our light body holds all these templates and keys and codes. And when we have step in our field, in our energetic field, that is what gets projected out. And when we're carrying that, that's what, where the bondage is the spiritual bondage. So we're going to be, which is not limited to this is just the outline that God provided, and then it'll flourish and expand, because God showed me it's going to be a 2-hour healing ceremony. So we're going to be covering a lot. And the healing ceremony is going to cover everything that we've been working through over the 7 days. The prayers that come in, learning what you guys have going on in your union, what's the bondage, what are the themes, what are the issues. All of that medicine is going to percolate and brew, and then we're going to bring it home in the healing ceremony, because that's what we do in Sanctuary of Sophia.
That is going to be so big.
I know, it's going to be
huge. I
huge.
feel that coming in. Oh my goodness.
It's going to support all the unions collectively. So thank you if you're called into this space, because it's such a deeper service to all unions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the ceremony, we're going to be removing fallen masculine and fallen feminine programs and architecture. Okay, inverted feminine and masculine programming and light body architecture. We're going to be removing dark father and dark mother bondage on your union lineage, which is that's going to hit home real big, because yeah, that's just really, really, yeah, it's a whole thing. I can't even touch it here.
Yeah, these are too deep.
It's too deep. That's why it's just bullet points. We're going to be healing wounds of separation and betrayal that is in your union across time and space. And we're going to be bringing in the restoration, right? So it's a removal, but it's also a restoration. We're not just going to remove it without restoring it. No, we're going to remove these things, and then we're going to allow Christ to come in and restore and bring this union revival, because that's what this container is.
It's about being empowered on the other side.
Exactly.
That's what this is for.
Yeah. So we're gonna restore Christ Sophia in your union using this beautiful new healing technology that's been so helpful for us. It's been so good. And then we're going to be healing broken heart and grief within the union and shared lineages. If you have this, if you have it in your different bloodlines of separation, divorce, adultery, things like that. We're going to be healing that because that is something that's carried down that you're carrying if that miasma hasn't been processed out. We're going to clear the ancestral miasma, and we're going to clear ancestral curses and black magic, all that stuff. We're going to clear that out. And then we're going to bring through an activation for divine union kingdom reign with God, which
Mm.
really is how you reign over your kingdom, your co-creation with God within your union as a contribution to God's kingdom. It's very deep level kingdom work. That's what we're going to be activating, stepping into. So it's going to be a really deep ceremony. I'm super pumped for it. I think it's going to be life-changing for us. I'm like, cool, I'm glad we get to hold this for us. Like, it's going to change our lives and everybody who comes in, and then the union collective. So
Yeah, and
yeah.
something that's been, I guess, in the field for a little bit that I just wanted to touch into is when we're doing that work on our own too, right? Being the representative of the union, somebody who isn't quite in union yet, there's there's that experience that it's actually drawing you closer to union. And I know whenever she does some big work, she's like, "Oh yeah, I did this for us." And but usually as she's doing that, like I have an experience that relates to it, and I'm telling her about it. And she's like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense. I was doing this thing." And so that's something that happens as you begin to do this. Now, what I'm recognizing as we're tuning in here, that we're all doing this together for the collective. This is a similar effect for all of the unions, that these things are going to be surfacing and they're going to need to also be ready and have that guidance, be prepared for these things surfacing because they will come up. And when they come up, it's good to be able to have that stability and that balance and the tools to know exactly what to do so that you can be empowered through it. And yeah, it's going to be very powerful for everyone to be able to tune into. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be exactly what we need right now. And God was really showing us that this is a space that is really needed right now for unions, and to
Yeah.
offer this in a way that's accessible, because we know not everybody is going to be able to come to Florida and, receive this in person. So this is a way that we're extending it out, and it feels like it's going to really be an anchor point on the timeline for unions, and to also break the curse on the unions collectively. So my prayer is that the work that we do in this immersion is also liberating all unions across the world for it to ease up. So we're going to be breaking collective bondage on the unions. And it's like, this is just what it is for New Earth leaders and for those going first. We just get a deeper reward for being the ones willing to do it, and to do it for the rest of our lineages. So, yeah, so we've given a lot of information.
I do want to bring something in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're really going to be in this space for a few weeks. Okay, what, 3 weeks, 4 weeks? We have a limited time that we're here on this grid, and this grid is so potent and healing for unions that if you're going to be coming in person, get prepared, get ready, come now. This
Yeah.
is the time to do it. And also, we have a limited number of spots for the immersion too.
Yeah.
We had 3 people already tuning in to that, so we do have a limited number of spots. Make sure that if you're feeling the call, get yourself prepared to come in, and the container does open on the 7th.
Mhm.
So that's going to be the beginning of the container, but you can still come in for a couple days within that. We haven't quite decided. We're going to feel that out, but to be in from the start, that's going to help to, for Jennifer that came in today,
Yeah.
right? That medicine is already going to be working in, and so we're going to have much more insight into whatever those spaces are that we're going to be working together, and that's going to be super powerful. So yeah, the sooner that you come into the container, the sooner the medicine starts coming in, and the sooner the impact and the effects will start happening for you too. And so that's just something else to keep in mind if you're thinking about it. Get in.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for that. And this is a good point. As soon as you say yes to the experience, your field will start to reorganize and recalibrate to prepare you for it. And God will start to prepare you when you're like, yeah, I'm doing this, I'm going into this. God's going to start preparing you, and your higher self is going to start preparing you, and everything's going to start to recalibrate. So even though the Telegram space, right, the container doesn't officially open till the 7th, the medicine is going to start working with you and for you. It's very similar to like when you make a decision to go sit with ayahuasca and you decide if you are called to the plants, when or like you decide, okay, I'm going to do this with God. I'm going to commit to this thing. Everything like that timeline's anchored in, it starts like connecting in, and then all the medicine starts flowing in. And then we can start receiving medicine for you too, which is helpful for us because then we have more time and space to like, okay, like this is coming in, and there's a lot arriving. So like he said, there's also limited space because it's going to be an intimate container. So if you know that you're called, definitely sign up. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. There's just one last thing I want to share about the mentorship support day. So we're not going to be providing customized membership throughout the 7 days or in our ceremonial day. That's going to be really held in that atmosphere of ceremony. The day after our ceremony, we're going to open up the group Telegram chat, and we're going to allow the mentorship to flow. What does that look like? You'll be able to drop in with us and ask specific questions to get reflections on your union after the ceremony's over. Like, this is what was shown to me over the last week. This is what I have, received. What are you receiving for us? Like, this is a sticking point in our union, whatever it is that's coming in. And then we're going to tune in and we're going to open up the transmission to then deliver for you for your specific union. So that is also provided as part of the immersion for you to get that customized, personalized mentorship the day after the container, the ceremonial day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is going
Well,
to be powerful because you're also be able to tune into all the wisdom that comes in for everybody else that's in the container without having to sit on a Zoom call for like 4 hours. Right.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah, and
yeah.
if you know yourself, so this is something else. If you know yourself, because the VIP upgrade, if you know that you will want to have a personalized session or personalized support, and that the Telegram back and forth may not be enough for you, that you want to go deeper with it, that is going to be it's a savings of $111. So you get a session with us, and that's a 1 hour session with us that would normally be 444. And so.
Yeah, we're giving
Yeah.
a special rate where you'll save $111 if you come
Yeah.
into the immersion. We're giving that.
Yeah. So if you know yourself well enough that you're like, yeah, I know that I'm going to want more support, then there's going to be that option for you as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also, this is for unions too. So if you want to come in and do a private session with us, you and your beloved
Yeah.
can come into the session and we'll work with both of you at the same exchange rate. It's not a higher exchange rate.
Yeah.
It's the same, and that goes for the immersion as well. So yeah, so we're really excited, and we're really holding deep prayers for this. We've started already praying, and as you sign up, we will pray for you. So we'll start praying today because we've had our first sign up. Amazing. Thank you, sister, for leading the way and for really opening this up for all divine unions and for those desiring to come into unions, and praying for God to really work in the fields. And yeah, it feels so potent and so needed. So we offer you our blessings and thank you for being a part of our journey. And we're so excited to be able to offer this. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or Elijah if you have any questions. And yeah, we'll drop the link in the comments here for you to read all about the immersion that starts on the 7th. And yeah, is there anything else that you want to share, my love?
I don't think so. That's it. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's been wonderful bringing this through for y'all.
Yeah. So much love. And remember, your divine union is destined to thrive and to be in joy. And anything that says otherwise, you want to reject that and cancel that out. Stay true. Look, there's like a freaking military plane flying over us right now, that interference. I'm telling you. Whatever. Okay. That's how it is. But finding joy and bringing in praise, praising God that God held the field the whole time for the transmission right until the end. So,
Yes.
okay. All right. Much love,
Gotcha.
fam. See you soon.